Yo, yo, what is going on, my fellow wrestling fans? Welcome to a brand new week and welcome to a brand new edition of what I like to call the Clash of the Champions, where we talk about the different controversies, storylines, news that center around this world we know and love as professional wrestling. I'm your host, the vegan you believe in, Conscious Kurt, aka the Professor in the flesh as
And ladies and
always.
gentlemen, this is his tag team partner, Jonathan Randall, the adventurer himself. And welcome to our special prediction episode for Bash in Berlin. Coming up this Saturday in Berlin, Germany. You can watch it on Peacock. It comes on at 10 a.m. Pacific time, 1 p.m. Eastern.
Yes, it does. That is going to be a big show this Saturday. But before we get into that, I'm going to get into some sad, unfortunate news for the second straight week. As Sid Yudi, better known to us wrestling fans as Sid Vicious, Sid Justice, and also Sycho Sid, passed away Monday at 63 years
Yeah,
old.
man. Very
But
unfortunate, man. Completely unfortunate situation. Um, he was 64 years old.
he was 63 years old. Also, his son was the one who posted the fact that he died on his Facebook
Had a
page earlier that day.
quite a long battle with cancer.
Yes, he was sick with cancer, but really nobody really knew about it up until the
Mm,
news came
mm.
out Monday. But yeah, it's very sad, man. He's relatively young, 63 years old, and also he has grandkids. I don't know if you've probably seen like a lot of the pictures floating around with him recently before he died was like were like pictures with his grandkids. He seemed like he was happy and having a good time. Yeah, very
Yeah,
sad to
man.
see him go so
He
young.
just get a lot of what a career he had, man. He was all over the place. He WCW. He was in, of course, how could we forget his run? With the WWE at Sid Justice and Psycho Sid, um, and also became he also was a world champion on a couple of occasions.
Yes, he was also in ECW
Oh, I
briefly
didn't know
too.
that.
I remember
Okay.
that actually. Yeah, it was like kind of like the beginning of '99. It was very brief. He wasn't there for long, but yeah, he was in ECW. But yeah, his first like real break came in WCW, like kind of like in the late '80s as one half of the Skyscrapers tag team, along with Dan Spivey, who you would go on to be Waylon Mercy a few years later. That was kind of his first big break, and then he went on to become a member of the Four Horsemen. Yeah, unfortunately, him and Ric Flair didn't get along, among other things, and that stint of the Four Horsemen didn't last very long. And then he would make his way to WWE in 1991, which would lead to a very memorable moment at the end of the 1992 Royal Rumble where he
Yeah.
eliminated Hulk Hogan. And Hulk Hogan taking it for the little sore loser, little bitch that he was, trying to eliminate Sid, and that caused Sid to be eliminated by Flair, which led to Flair winning, and that would set up their match that they would
Got
have
that
at
main event
WrestleMania 8.
spot. But you know, is very debated to this day, though. But that's another story, though. But yeah, he had the main event spot at WrestleMania 8 with Hulk Hogan. After that, kind of didn't really see much of him, throughout that whole year, if I remember.
Well, what happened was he failed a drug test before
Right.
WrestleMania 8, but they weren't going to let him miss WrestleMania because of the drug test failing. So they let him work WrestleMania, also the European tour after WrestleMania, where he actually wrestled The Undertaker. And they were going to have him be suspended after the European tour, but instead of serving his suspension,
Got
he
you.
just quit. He was supposed to feud with Ultimate Warrior actually after WrestleMania 8, but because of him getting fired, that's why they
So
switched
he
it to
pretty
Papa
much won't
Shango.
come back not till about like what, late '94, early '95.
Yeah, like the beginning of '95, heading into WrestleMania. But in between that time, he still had like another stint in WCW. I know you've seen that picture online of like him and Vader like running on the
Yeah, I
beach.
remember that. Um,
You've
I
seen that picture
remember that.
online, I'm
Yeah,
sure you
yeah, that
have.
was yeah.
And Sid was actually supposed to beat Vader for the WCW title during that time in
Mm.
'93, but he would end up getting fired during an incident with Arn Anderson in which they both stabbed each other with a pair of
Oh
scissors. You've heard about this story,
no,
haven't
no.
you? Oh shit. Yeah, they were like on some overseas tour and like they were trying to get to the bottom of why like WCW's business was so bad. And Sid at the bar made the comment that like old timers like Ric Flair and Arn Anderson need to kind of step aside and make way for like the new blood. And obviously Arn Anderson took offense to this, and this would lead to them getting into this big ass fight that would lead to a pair of scissors being pulled out and then they stabbed each other with it. And yeah, there was a whole lot of blood loss in this
Holy
whole thing.
crap!
Whole lot of
Wow.
blood loss. The person who broke it up, from what I understand, was Too Cold
Mm.
Scorpio. Yeah, so Sid ended up getting fired because of that, because he was the one who pretty much started it, according to the reports. So he ended up leaving WCW for that stint. And then he would come back in WWE in 95 as Shawn Michaels' bodyguard going into WrestleMania 11. And one of the first really memorable, like Raw after WrestleMania moments, Sid would turn on Shawn the night after WrestleMania 11 and lay his ass out with 3 consecutive
Yeah,
power bombs.
yeah, yeah.
I remember that shit too. They didn't even show it like when it happened. They like went to a commercial break, and then right after they came back from the commercial break, you saw
Mm.
Sid just like standing over Sean. You're like, yo, what the fuck happened? And they
That's
didn't show
crazy.
it until the weekend of the actual attack. Yeah,
Yep.
man. Early days of Raw.
Nothing will start to kick off for Psycho Sid not until 1996 when he finally became the WWE champion at Survivor Series that year.
Yeah, but even before that, he was
Yeah.
getting a lot of momentum during that time. Yeah, I remember when he came back in the summer to replace Ultimate Warrior in that 6-man tag. Like from that moment on, Sid
Hmm.
was white hot, son. Yeah, people
Yeah.
were really behind him during this time. And then initially that was supposed to be Vader in that spot, but then that whole situation with Shawn and Vader happened where Shawn didn't want to work with him. So then Sid ended up getting put in this spot instead. And yeah, Sid was probably the most popular dude in that whole Madison Square Garden arena that whole night,
Yep.
even more than Bret Hart probably. Yeah, his entrance that night is so iconic where he comes out and he's giving people the fist bump and he's saying, "Who's the man? Who's the man? Who's the man?" Yeah, that entrance is used for
I
so
know.
many memes, it's ridiculous. Yeah, there was even one that came up on Monday. This is how Psycho Sid walks into
Really,
heaven.
I'd never seen that.
Yeah, there was just a meme sharing his entrance from Survivor Series '96. There was one with that one where it says like Psycho Sid when he walks into heaven, and there was another one where it says when you finish smashing your crush and you
Oh my
walk back
god.
home to your boys. Yeah, but that Survivor Series when he beat Sean for the title after Sean had been the champion pretty much most of the year, yeah, that was a big deal, son.
It was a very big deal, and yeah, I wasn't expecting that title turn to happen. And more importantly, I wasn't expecting the fans to cheer for him, that night. But yeah, he became WWE champion that night, and he will hold it on till the Royal Rumble the following year, and um, he'll win it again. Was it the following February? Because Sean had to, yeah, a month later,
A month
because Sean
later,
had to
yeah.
relinquish the title, and he beat Bret Hart for that title. February of '97. We'll go on to once again, with second time within 5 years, he will main event WrestleMania again, but this time as in a championship match against The Undertaker at WrestleMania 13. Match was not as talked about, but to get another main event spot is a huge accomplishment on your resume. But yeah, you'll main event with The Undertaker that night, and once again, after that, didn't really see much from Psycho Sid later on that year.
How crazy is that though? Sid actually has only wrestled at 2 WrestleManias, and both of them
Yeah.
were in main events. And he's one of only 2 people to pin Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels at back to
Mm.
back pay per views. The only other one being Arn Anderson in
Wow.
1989. Yeah, because I remember I actually went to that In Your House, like where after Sid won the title, where he went against Bret Hart, and where like Sean was standing on the apron, and then Sid threw Bret into Sean, and then Sid ended up beating Bret. Yeah, I was at that In Your House, and then yeah, Sid would hold the belt until the Royal Rumble, where he would ultimately lose the title to Sean back when they were in San Antonio in Sean's hometown, and then Sean lost his smile, and then went away for a few months, and then Sid ended up getting the belt back. Went to WrestleMania against The Undertaker, ended up losing the title. But then after that, yeah, he kind of disappeared a little bit. He made like one brief return, like for King of the Ring. I remember at King of the Ring, he was in a 6-man tag, and he was even supposed to go against Vader at SummerSlam that year. But then I think he had some kind of issue, and then they ended up sending him home. And then yeah, he never really wrestled in
Mm,
WWE like that
mm.
again after that. And then I said before he ended up in ECW briefly, he was there, yeah, for a small period of time. And then he was back in WCW in 1999 as part of Randy Savage's Team Madness stable. Won the US title, won the world title a couple of times. Yeah, he was doing pretty well in WCW in that second run up until the infamous incident in the beginning of 2001 where he had that
Oh,
leg injury. I'm sure you've seen
yeah.
that online video
Um,
time.
I
Yeah.
kind of it's if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, you could find it online. It's pretty graphic to see. It was a botch move. It was an accident, but yeah, it's not a pretty sight.
Yeah, there was this one really bad Paul George injury from a few years ago. That's kind of what it reminds me of. Yeah, that was bad. Yeah, that was really bad. And that pretty much was the end of like
Yeah,
his full-time career at least. There was like nothing really as note that he did after that. He made that one brief cameo on Raw in 2012 where he beat Heath Slater when like Heath Slater was doing that gimmick where he was going
I
against the
remember
legends
that.
every week. Yeah, that
Yeah,
was like his last major appearance in WWE. And yes, he was one thing we cannot forget. He was the master of the
he
power
was.
bomb.
A lot of people have the had a power bomb move though, but he was the master of it. One thing I want to say before we go, this is a bit sad, to read this and to hear this. So about a month ago, before he passed away, he had tweeted about how he wants to be in the Hall of Fame soon, and this is what he said. I quote: "Hopefully, 2025 will be the year I get inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. Time is ticking, so it's now or never for me. With Vince McMahon gone, the company is more open to suggestions. Triple H needs to hear the voices of my fans." End quote. This was a month ago.
And yeah, Triple H put out a tweet, saying how sad he was that Sid passed. Also, Sting put out a tweet. Diamond Dallas Page put out a tweet. Even Michael Cole on Raw said, like, when he first came to WWE in '97, one of the first people to say hello to him was actually
Oh,
Psycho
nice.
Sid. Yeah, Psycho Sid even got a reference on that Boy Meets World episode with Vader.
Oh,
Yeah, when like Vader's kind of like trying to threaten Corey. Corey's like, "Yeah, that's exactly what you said to Psycho Sid before you powerbombed him through the mat." And Vader's like, "Oh, you saw that match?" He's like, "Yeah, I watch all your matches all the time." And then Vader's like, "You see, Frankie, this boy's a fan. You should be more like this boy. Why can't you be like this boy?" Yo, Vader was mad funny on Boy
but I
Meets
tell you
World.
what, though, I definitely could see him getting inducted next year. Now, seeing that tweet, and
He
he
deserves
deserves
it,
it.
bro.
Yeah,
He deserves it. He was popular and he was a big deal everywhere he went, and he was a world champion multiple times. And main evented WrestleMania twice, one time with Hulk Hogan, one time with The Undertaker. He beat Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart for the championship within 3 months. He was in the Four Horsemen. Yeah, he checked off a lot of boxes,
that's
bro. Yeah,
crazy,
he
man.
did a lot.
Hell of accomplishment.
Yeah, I loved his entrance too. Like when he would have the sparklers go off for like his like name the name Sid like with the fireworks. Yo,
Yeah,
that shit was mad dope. I used to love that
it's
entrance.
very creative.
Yeah, but overall, I'll definitely say a lot of people will probably agree with me with this too. My favorite memory of Sid is by far when he won the title from Shawn at Survivor Series '96, and that
Very
was
epic. Yeah,
epic. Yes, but rest in peace to Sid Udy, aka Psycho Sid, Sid Vicious, Sid Justice, whichever you were introduced to him as. And yes, his legacy in the wrestling industry will not ever be forgotten. And condolences to his family, friends, grandkids, all that good stuff. Yeah, I really feel
definitely
for you
won't be
guys right
forgotten,
now.
man. Rest in peace, and our condolences to his entire family. Um, Rest in peace, man. Thank you for everything, and thank you for the memories. Sycho Sid.
And thank you for being the master, and thank you for being the ruler of the world. But one thing about Sid, before we move on, one thing about Sid that always entertained me was his promos, especially his promo at WrestleMania
Yeah, that's
8.
his most famous one right there.
I don't care. I don't give a damn about the memories of Hulk Hogan. Now you, Hogan, I curse you. I curse you. Yo, he
Man,
was wilding. Yes, rest in peace to Sid. Let's move on to some more positive news. As this past Sunday, we had AEW All In from Wembley Stadium in London, England for the second straight year. And luckily, I was able to actually watch the show this year. And I have to say, show delivered. Show
very
fucking
delivered in a
delivered.
big way. A lot of surprises in this event.
Yeah, a lot of surprises, a lot of great matches, and the three great matches that really stood out the most on this show were the Tony Storm and Mariah May Women's World Championship match. Yo, these two killed it. I have to say, this may be one of the best women's matches in wrestling pretty
Really,
much the whole year. Yeah, this match was great. It was a fight. There was blood, there was hard hits. Yeah, these two women beat the shit out of each other, son. Pile drivers on the steel steps. Mariah May even slapped her own mother who was sitting in
wow,
ringside. Yeah, I guess she took some notes from Dominic Mysterio.
damn.
Yeah, and there's this one point where Tony Storm is about to hit Mariah May with her heel, kind of similar to how this feud all started,
Mhm.
but she just could not bring herself to do it. And that would end up costing her in the end as Mariah May would take advantage and lay out Tony Storm and pick up the win and win the women's world title.
Crazy.
Good ass match,
Mm.
though. Good ass match. And I think the Tony Storm character is pretty much going to be a babyface now. She got a great reaction from the audience. She got a standing ovation even after the match. Yo, I have to say, she knocked that character out of the
I
park.
bet.
Yeah, like I've said before, other than Swerve Strickland, Tony Storm is probably the biggest success story of anybody who like left WWE like in that 2021 period and came to
Hmm.
AEW. She's the one who's probably done the most besides him. Yeah, that match was great. Also, the MJF and Will Ospreay match was fucking nuts. Yo, these two
I
went to
cannot
town,
get
son.
over the. You probably saw me posted, but he MGF was having a little Apollo Creed fever going on, wearing the whole Uncle Sam All American attire, walking into the ring like that.
Yeah, he was like a mix of Apollo Creed and 1993 Lex Luger.
Right.
Yeah, if you saw his tights, like when he takes off like everything and you see his tights, yeah, it's basically like the Lex Luger tights from back then. Only thing MJF was missing was fucking James Brown, which unfortunately can't
I
happen
mean,
for
he
obvious
could
reasons.
he could still use a song though, but that's another story. But yeah,
Yeah, but anyway, yeah, the match was great. I don't know if it was better than that match on Dynamite a few weeks ago, but it was still damn good. And it ultimately ended with Daniel Garcia getting revenge on MJF for almost putting him out a few weeks ago. And he knocked down MJF. And then he was wearing a hoodie initially, then it revealed it was him. And yeah, MJF was pissed. MJF was like, "You piece of shit. I'm going to get you. You're going to never work in this industry again." And then Will Ospreay took advantage of this and knocked out MJF with a clothesline and then hit him with the Tiger Driver, which is kind of a move he's been hesitating to do since he hurt Bryan Danielson with it. But this time he did not hesitate considering who he was doing it to, and that would allow him to win the match and regain the international title.
damn, crazy sequence.
Yeah, great match though. Probably the match of the night.
Yeah,
But unfortunately, what did not get good reviews from All In was the TBS Championship match, which actually followed this match between Mercedes Monet and Britt Baker. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, bro. This match did not click.
did not click.
Yeah, it's one of those matches I went into the show really looking forward to, but damn, it was a letdown. Even
Wow.
Mercedes Monet like said herself that she kind of wished she had done things differently looking back at it now. And also the fact that they went on so late and also went on after MJF and Will Ospreay was a big reason why it kind of like turned out the way it did. But yeah, I don't know. But yeah, regardless, yeah, the match just did not click. I'm sorry to say, but it did not click.
Man.
I admit, like going on when they did, like after MJF and Will Ospreay was a death slot, and also the fact that it was like so late in the show probably also didn't help either. But regardless of all of that, the match just did not click. Yeah,
Mm.
it just did not seem like they had chemistry together. It did not seem like it was in sync. Yeah, it was by far probably the biggest disappointment of the whole show.
Ah, man. I mean, that happens. There's always going to be that certain match that's like, doesn't click maybe, but it is what it is.
Yeah, but Mercedes Moné ultimately did retain, no surprise. And also in the coffin match, Jack Perry retained the TNT Championship over Darby Allin, but then afterwards, him and the rest of the members of the Elite went on to continue to attack Darby Allin. But coming out to save him was the recently retired Sting.
Yeah. Wasn't expecting that, man.
Neither was I, but it was cool to see him. He came back, made easy work of
Yeah.
all the Elite foods, and yeah, laid all their asses out, and then helped up Darby Allin.
Yeah, that's right, man. It's always good to, see a anybody return who's been gone for a long time, especially Sting.
Yeah, it was great to see him make that cameo. But in
Yeah.
the main event, we had Swerve Strickland defending the AEW World Title against Bryan Danielson, with the stipulation where if Bryan Danielson were to lose, he would have to retire.
Oh man, and this was it was a great match, man. And Daniel Bryanson was also bleeding in his match as well.
Yeah, he was bleeding a gusher. Also, there was one point where Swerve was like stomping him in the head, like right in front of his kids and his wife who were sitting in the front row. Yeah, he was not giving any fucks.
Nope.
But one thing I liked about this match was the fact that Bryan Danielson came out to Final Countdown.
Oh
Clutch. Yeah, that's the song he used
yeah.
to come out to when he was in Ring of Honor. But like obviously it's expensive to use it all the time, but for this night they did use it, which was perfect. Especially in London, and considering the name of the band that sings the song is called Europe. Yeah, you gotta use it.
Yeah, I think that was like the perfect song to use for it. Due to the circumstances that's going on in this match. The final countdown, and it could possibly would have been the final countdown, but apparently not, man. The match delivered. Love the finish. Daniel Bryanson winning the title by submission. I thought it was like a good way to. I think that was like a perfect way to end it in submission like that.
Yeah, it was a great finish, but even before that happened, there was one point where Swerve had the advantage, but then Hangman Adam Page came out and everybody kind of thought he was a fan, but then they realized it was Hangman Adam Page and then all the security had to come and like take him away, but that caused kind of a
Mm.
distraction. And there was one point where Bryan Danielson even hit Swerve with the running knee, but Swerve kind of just shrugged it off. Like you thought he got hit with it, but then he got right back up as if he wasn't phased by it and he just like kicked Bryan in the head afterwards.
Wow.
But then Bryan Danielson ultimately got him in the label lock, and then he reversed the label lock into kind of like a regal stretch where like he put Swerve's like arm around his arm and then he like stretched his face. And then yeah, Swerve had no choice but to tap out and allow Bryan Danielson to win the AEW World title for the very first time. And very fitting in front of his family, who came in to celebrate with him afterwards.
Great picture, great moment with his family. Just a great. I said last week that this match was going to be very emotional, despite of the outcome, and I was right.
Yes, it was a very emotional moment. And Bryan Danielson even said afterwards that that was by far the best moment of his career.
Okay. Hmm.
Even more than winning the title at WrestleMania 30.
Wow.
Yeah, he got to have his wife there, his kids there.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, yeah. Like, but for you personally, I mean, which one are you like buy or sell? This moment or his win at WrestleMania 30?
Probably his win at WrestleMania 30, but this was a better
Hmm.
match in a way. I have to admit that.
Okay.
Yeah, so Bryan Danielson is the new AEW World Champion. And yes, he has been competing without a contract. His contract actually expired on August 1st. And people were thinking on Dynamite last night that he was going to actually forfeit the title, but he made it perfectly clear that he's not done yet.
No, definitely not. I mean, you're gonna win the title. Maybe you would have thought, oh, it's like a one or done. He's gonna win it, and then look, I'll just drop it and then move on. But no, I don't think he's done for right now.
Yes, and his next challenge is going to be actually next Saturday at AEW All Out. AEW
Oh
actually has
wow.
another paper next weekend in Chicago. And yes, his next challenger is going to be Jack Perry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's kind of a predictable outcome, but Jack Perry's going to be universally hated in Chicago. Obviously, you know why.
I forgot why. Tell me why.
Because it's CM Punk country, and he got into that incident with CM Punk last year at
Right,
All In
right. And it's been a year now. The other day, like I think it was like was it a couple
Tuesday.
days ago? Was the
Tuesday was
yeah.
Yeah, Tuesday was 1 year since all that shit happened. So yeah, that's gonna be Bryan Danielson's next challenger. Also, we're gonna have Hangman Adam Page and Swerve Strickland in a steel cage match. And also, we're gonna get for the international titles, Will Ospreay defending against Pac. That should be fucking crazy.
Oh, I bet.
And also, one other thing I forgot to mention about All In. All In also featured the debut in AEW of Ricochet.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that too.
Yeah,
I knew.
Ricochet
I
is officially.
knew. I Yeah, he's officially on there. I had a feeling that he was gonna show up on there. So
Yeah, it even came out a few days before that he officially signed with them. So I was expecting him to make an appearance at All In because they were having this casino gauntlet match, and I was figuring he would be one of the participants, and lo and behold, he was.
good for him. I'm quite sure he'll do well. Hopefully, have a bigger push being there. So we'll see what happens though. But I'm happy for him.
Yeah, he's probably gonna have a showdown with Will Ospreay at some point. They had a brief confrontation last night up until Pac interrupted it, but probably go
Hmm.
down sooner or later. So yeah, Ricochet
Right.
is also part of AEW, and also in that Casino Royal Gauntlet match, we had the in-ring return for the first time in 2 decades of Nigel McGuinness. Yeah, Nigel McGuinness made his in-ring return for the first time in 20 years, fitting place being in his home country of England. And yeah, he put on a good performance. He didn't win, but he still got to, wrestle for the first time in so many years in front of his home country. So yeah, it's a good look for him.
Okay.
He was a legendary rival of Bryan Danielson during the Ring of Honor days.
Nice.
But it just actually came out today that Netflix will be releasing a six-part Vince McMahon docu-series, and it will be released on Netflix on September 25th.
Yeah, I heard about that. They just announced that today. Found out on Twitter, and yeah, they're really gonna. They it looked like at first they wasn't gonna do it though, but yeah, they're gonna do it. And despite of how we feel about this guy, I think every wrestling fan is gonna be very interested to hear this and to watch this as well.
Yeah, the good, the bad, and the ugly. I wonder if they're going to
Yeah.
interview Shane and Stephanie for it.
Well, I don't know. I mean, they haven't. We haven't heard anything about who's going to be interviewed in this documentary, or just all we know is that it will be released next month on Netflix.
Looking forward to it. But one thing you should check out actually is that interview with Chris Van Vliet and Jesse Ventura. Good stuff, man.
Interesting stuff when they talk about Predator. I love when Karrion Cross did his impersonation of him. That was funny. And
Yo,
also,
he
like, I
killed that shit.
loved you talk about, well, what's his relationship with WWE now, and he said it's better, which is good. They both, we know the history between the both of them. You know what I mean? We know the whole union thing going on during the '80s and all. Well, it was like early '90s though, but yeah, we all know the whole entire story, and it was a bit messy, but I'm glad to hear that they're on better terms with each other now. I think due to the fact that Vince is gone, has a lot to play in it.
Yeah, of course. Everybody's like good with WWE again now that Vince is gone. That's why I said Vince leaving was the best thing to happen
Mm.
to not just WWE but wrestling. Period. Yeah, look at
Hmm.
all the great things that have happened since he left.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Yeah, Jesse was basically like getting into the whole union thing and how he was gonna quit because like he got ratted out by Hogan and then him and Vince got into it. But then once he was like good under the Screen Actors Guild, he was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm not even gonna fight for a union anymore. If they're not smart enough to want to fight for their rights, that's their problem.
Right.
Yeah, he got hooked up from Predator. Yeah, he credits Arnold for like really helping his acting career take off. And it's to the point now where he makes like $50,000 a year alone just from the Screen Actors Guild.
Oh,
Good for him, son. Good for him.
very good. He was in a handful of movies though, but he's really known for his role in
Predator.
Predator. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. Vince wanted to get rid of him because of the whole union thing, but then the one Saturday night's main event that he missed, that the NBC executives were asking Vince, like, yo, where's Jesse Ventura? We want Jesse Ventura. So he had no choice but to bring him back.
Oh wow.
Yeah, but obviously he's not cool with Hogan still. He even said there's like probably no chance of him and Hogan ever being cool again. I mean, I don't blame him. And just that story that he tells of Hogan snitching on him, among the other things we heard, yeah, just another reason to like want to make another rap song dissing him.
Hmm.
But yeah, good interview. I liked hearing about like his time in the Navy SEALs and also his governorship and how he even like pitched the storyline to Vince about like putting a wrestler in the White House and then how like Vince would try to take away from it and try to act like he's running for president, but then Jesse Ventura will be the real one running for president, and it's this whole like storyline, kind of like a battle of the billionaires, but like deciding who runs for president as opposed to who gets their head shaved.
Right.
That would have been cool, but then Vince said no.
He would have.
He just said it was too much, but whatever it is, what it is. He's not a big fan of Trump either.
This is coming from a former governor. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Like I feel like with many conspiracy theories and all that, I feel like Jesse Ventura's opinion holds credibility more than most people's because he actually was a governor and like was around those people. So we, saw a lot of shit the average person didn't see.
Yeah, and then let's not forget Jesse Ventura is a former Navy SEAL, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, he just seems like somebody with like values and morals. Even when he was an announcer, he would call out like the baby faces whenever they would cheat. Hogan being one example. Yeah, he would not play that shit.
Well, yeah, that's another thing that we forgot to mention. Now, when he was doing color commentary with Gorilla Monsoon back in the day, he was that first heel commentator where yeah he will support the heels and defend them by any means, by any stretch. And I think that was like I thought that was perfect. You have to have that balance. Got to have that one person supporting the baby face while the other supports the heels. I think it creates good chemistry, but also it makes the show better and fun, more entertaining. So
Yeah, definitely. And I consider Jesse Ventura like a big part of that whole WWE product back then. From him, Hogan, Savage, Andre, Mean Gene, Gorilla Monsoon. He was a major part of that too.
yeah.
Yeah, and it's funny. He would talk about like the initial Saturday night's main event. They try to hand him a script, and he's like, "What the fuck? I'm Jesse Ventura. I'm not gonna read no script. Let me be me. Let me do my thing, and I'll handle it. You're not gonna tell me how to talk. I'm Jesse Ventura. You don't know me." Yeah, good shit. I can imagine what he would think of like the product before Vince left if he had to work with him.
Definitely would have never worked out.
With those bullshit scripts. But yeah, it's
Right.
good to see Jesse doing well. It's good to see him like back in the wrestling mix. He's in the process of like signing a Legends deal, and yeah, we'll be seeing more of him on WWE shows, which is a good look.
Oh, definitely, definitely, definitely.
Maybe we'll see him make a cameo on commentary.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That would be definitely be great, man. Oh my God, I love that.
Yeah, but we'll see what happens. But what is going to happen this coming Saturday is the Bash in Berlin show taking place at 1 o'clock Eastern my time, 10 a.m. Pacific your time. It will be taking place from Berlin, Germany. And there is only 5 matches on the card, which is not surprising. Kind of like the format it's been sticking with pretty much most of this year. But yes,
Hmm.
these are the matches, and these are our predictions for those matches.
Let's get it started.
Yes. For the women's tag team titles, we have Alba Fire and Isla Dawn defending against Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill.
Yeah, so I'm happy for Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill. It's been a while since they had a spot on a card on a premium live event. We had talked about this a couple weeks ago, but yeah, they're finally get their spot, and they're finally going to get their shots at the women's tag team championship. Now, I don't know. They're going to potentially are going to break up, and I had said how we both debated about how them losing the tag team titles, really early wasn't a good idea. But I said to myself, long term, this could be that form of the start of that dissension moving forward. You know what I mean? Because of that,
Yeah.
you know. And then yeah, they're gonna chase after just like how they are now, though. But if you want to start that dissension, if you're gonna chase after the titles, it's best you don't get it. So I have the Unholy Union winning this match. And this defeat, Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill losing this match will really start to see the little bit of the crumblings in their relationship.
That's one way it could go down. But my prediction, I'm going to have to disagree with you. I think Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill regain the titles. I think eventually they are
Okay.
going to split. They are going to have like a real messy breakup and all that good stuff, but it's going to be a minute until that happens. So I feel they regain the titles here, have the titles for a little longer, and they'll break up and have that whole shemaz probably closer to WrestleMania season.
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. They both felt really cold ever since they lost the titles.
Yeah.
I did like their outfits that they were wearing on Friday on SmackDown, along with Naomi. The ones paying tribute to the girls in the Olympics, like Simone Biles. Like,
Oh yeah.
yeah, that
Yeah.
outfit that Bianca was wearing. Yeah, that's a really dope idea. I like how they pulled it off.
Oh, I loved it. Loved it. Loved the idea. Love the tribute.
Yeah, Bianca's always coming up with those creative ass outfits. Yes, and also look out for Bianca Belair on the newest episode of Bel Air that's on right now on Peacock.
Oh, that's funny. No pun intended.
Yeah, perfect. She's a perfect person to be on it. Bel Air on Bel Air.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's only in one scene. She teaches like the kids how like to do hip tosses, which is cool.
Okay. I haven't got that far yet. Think I'm on episode 6, I believe. So yeah.
Of the first season.
No, third season, man. Come
Oh,
on.
you've been watching it. Okay, okay, cool.
Yeah, I've been on top of that show now. Come on.
Yeah, it's good. I like it. It's not the same as the
Yeah.
original, but that's what I kind of like learned to accept about it. Is to kind of look at it as kind of the original Fresh Prince, but more as kind of like a drama and a Broadway play.
True.
I did like in the most recent episode how they brought back the old Jeffrey.
Well, did not wait. You know what? No, I'm not. I don't think I'm even that far yet.
Oh shit! Okay, you'll see it. I posted it online yesterday. I figured you would
Yeah.
have seen it there.
I even see photos of it too, though, so it's not a surprise. So, but yeah.
Yeah, that new Jeffrey is a menace, son. Yeah, that new Jeffrey is not to be fucked with.
I know. I know. Crazy.
And Hillary is far more likable than she is in the original. Yeah, but brace yourself for the next two episodes, especially episode 7. Some like weird shit goes on with like Uncle Phil and Aunt Viv when they go like on a couple.
Okay.
All right, but moving on for the WWE Championship, we have Cody Rhodes defending his title against Kevin Owens.
Yeah. We all talked about how kind of like this title run of Cody Rhodes has been a little bit off, but Cody Rhodes is going to retain the title, but Kevin Owens will turn heel, and this feud will go longer. Hopefully, create more buzz to Cody's title reign a little bit more. So,
Yeah, I think Cody retains also, and I feel like probably what's going to happen is like afterwards, Cody's going to try to shake Kevin Owens' hand, and then Kevin Owens is going to act like he's cool with him,
yeah.
and then he's going to turn on him.
It was crazy. this past Friday on SmackDown, it looked like Kevin Owens was going to turn heel at first because it looked like he was going to hit Cody Rhodes with the belt.
Yeah, it did look like it, but it did not happen. They were
Yeah.
definitely waiting for it, and I feel like that heel turn happens this weekend. I feel like it's time. I feel like Kevin Owens has been a babyface long enough. I feel like it's time for him to switch it
Oh
up.
yeah. Yeah, and I said this before, in our, I think it was last week's episode, how there are certain wrestlers where you are meant to be like a babyface or a heel. You're meant to be better as a heel. Kevin Owens is on that list.
Also, Mercedes Monet, Triple H, you could throw in there too.
Randy Orton.
Ric Flair, MJF.
Yeah,
So yes, I do think Cody retains, and then yeah, Kevin Owens is gonna beat the shit out of him, and then I'll set up a rematch.
yeah.
All right, let's move on to our next match as we have the Terror Twins of Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley taking on the newest version of Judgment Day, that being Dominic Mysterio, the Chicken Fingers Fiend, as well as the Women's World Champion Liv Morgan.
Okay. I have Dominic and Liv Morgan winning to put more heat on them, and they will win because of the interference of Finn Balor.
Interesting, interesting.
They've been really been Finn Balor, not Finn Balor, but all of Judgment Day has really been, getting really involved and heavily with interrupting Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley these past weeks on Raw.
Yeah, every time it seems like Rhea's about to hit the riptide on either Dominic or Liv Morgan, they end up escaping somehow. But I feel like in this match, she's gonna hit it on at least one of them. Whether they win or lose, I feel like she hits at least one of them with the riptide, and that'll set up Rhea and Liv Morgan for Bad Blood next month.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I feel like as far as the match outcome goes, I feel like the Terror Twins are gonna win since they both got screwed at SummerSlam. I feel like they're gonna get their revenge.
I don't know, man. I think I have Dominic and Liv winning just to get more of that heat, and then of course Finn Balor will be the cause of it. Interrupting that match, and also to continue to heat that feud between him and Damian Priest. I can't wait for Bad Blood. Like no offense to this event, you know what I mean. It's just I see this whole event as a good build up moving forward to Bad Blood. So I can't wait for Bad Blood. You know what I mean? I already know that event is going to be hot.
Oh, it's gonna be insane. I'm just kind of bummed up moving and I won't be able to go, but this is
I
what it is.
know. That's
I
crazy.
still got WrestleMania. I still got WrestleMania, but
Yeah.
I am gonna stick to my prediction. I think the Terror Twins find a way to win, and yeah, this is gonna set up everything for Bad Blood.
Yeah.
So we move on to the strap match that'll be taking place between CM Punk and Drew McIntyre, the hottest feud of 2024. And now we're gonna see
Mm-hmm.
the second match, that installment, and it will be a strap match. What you got?
CM Punk, ever since he's been back, has not won a match this year. Crazy. He needs to win one. He needs to even up this feud, this rivalry between him and Drew McIntyre is really not a rivalry if it's one sided. You know what I mean? So CM Punk needs to get this win.
I believe he will. I think this match is going to be pretty violent, but CM Punk finds a way
Mm.
to win, and that sets up the Hell in a Cell for Bad Blood.
Yes, yes, baby, yes. You see why I'm so excited for Bad Blood? Man, my God, it'll be crazy how if they go along with this, if it's Hell in a Cell, right? Every Bad Blood event, Kurt has featured a Hell in a Cell match.
A Hell in a Cell main event, and yes, this one will be no different.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I do
crazy.
think CM Punk wins and stretches out to Bad Blood. I have to ask you, do you think the feud is as interesting now as it was like going into SummerSlam?
That's a good question, but that's a tough question. Well, it still is interesting because look, you got to remember something. This whole thing now is because of the bracelet. It's because of the bracelet now. That's pretty much what's been like the main um, topic behind it now. Going into SummerSlam, there was other, of course, there was other things that was a part of the feud that made it great. But this one now is about the bracelet. Now this is also about Punk just trying to get the one up on Drew McIntyre. So I think that all fizzles out, and then whatever happens, yes, it will eventually will lead to their final confrontation at Bad Blood. It has to end next month. Well, no, not next month, October. You know what I mean? I can't. Yeah, you know what I meant. Yeah, I can't believe we're almost at the end of August, but
Yeah, I think it ends at Bad Blood, but we still have another month or so of the feud, if that's the case. But I
mhm.
will be honest, it does not feel as interesting as it did like going into SummerSlam. I feel like it's definitely cooled off a little bit since then.
Just a little, because, like I said, because you got to remember there was other things that you know made the feud hot, because you got to remember what was going on prior to all of this. You know what I mean? Now this whole thing now moving forward is about the bracelet.
But we'll see. Hopefully, they can keep the feud interesting and compelling over the next month. But I do think that CM Punk pulls out the win in this one, which will mark his very first win on TV since he came back.
Yeah, he needs to get a win, man. He gotta even up this feud.
Yes, but let's move on to our main event for the World Heavyweight title. The Ring General, Gunther, and his first title defense in front of his homeland or close enough to it, will be defending his title against the Apex Predator, the former 15-time champion, and now apparently MGK's worst enemy, Randy Orton.
Love this. I love the feud. I love the whole. I mean, I said this last week. I love how they transitioned this whole thing. You didn't have that conclusion from the King of the Ring final, and it now comes to this. But now the stakes are bigger. Now I love it. But Gunther is winning this match. He just
Oh,
won the title. The belt looks super good on him. This time will be a clean finish. Yes, Gunther will retain the title, but it will be a great match.
oh, I don't doubt it. I think it's probably going to be the match of the night. But
Hmm.
Gunther just won the title a month ago. The belt looks too good
Yeah.
on him. He has too much momentum right
Oh,
now.
that's
So
oh my god, it does. Yeah,
So he retains his title here, and I feel like that's going to be the catalyst of Randy Orton eventually turning heel on Cody Rhodes.
yeah.
Crazy. Cody's going to have two tag partners turn on him within a few months.
Hey, but guess what though? It's good for Cody. It's good for Cody's title reign, because I feel bad how politics and the media are just scrutinizing this man's title reign. Like, look out so far, right? Out of all the title defenses, his best match was against, I think, his short little feud with AJ Styles right after Mania.
Yeah, those two matches are probably the best ones.
Yeah, you know what I mean. And I'm sorry that things are a certain way how it is though, but like it's kind of like it's not fair. You had that great WrestleMania moment, that great win, and now you're finally the champion, and then it's just like there's more pressure added up on him. But I'm actually happy that Kevin Owens is going to eventually going to turn heel. Their feud is going to last for a little bit longer, and then eventually Orton's going to turn heel. This is good. So this is something that he needs, and I hope that the media could finally quiet down now when this happens.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, so far, Cody's title reign is kind of, in some ways, reminding me of Ultimate Warrior's title reign, although this one is better than Ultimate Warrior's title reign. But it just still feels like, even though
Mm.
he's the champion, like he doesn't really, especially now that Roman's back, like feel like the guy. And also considering some of the feuds he's been in and all that jazz, yeah, it doesn't really feel the same as it did when Roman was the guy. At least not yet.
Yeah.
Let's see. So he's been the champion, what, about 5 months now? Yeah, I feel like overall it's been fine. It's not, it hasn't been a bad title reign, but there is something missing from it. I will admit that.
Yeah, man. I just hope that the media could just find, and the fans could just kind of okay, simmer down a little bit now. Simmer down. he has a couple of upcoming feuds that's gonna make things interesting. So I'm very hopeful for that
Yeah, that's the thing. He just needs feuds and challengers where like you think there's like maybe a chance that he'll lose.
now. Yeah, give him a threat. Give him, like a like I don't know if Cody's gonna win this, but that type of feeling. So hopefully, especially mainly with Orton, you gotta like come on, like when Cody and Orton feud, I'm telling you, man. I hope that they, the fans' perspective, and you're looking at it in a way like, oh, I think Orton could, pull this off or whatever. You know what I mean? You got to have that type of emotion. So that's why I'm looking forward to all this.
Yeah, because other than Randy Orton, I don't really see anybody who has like a legit chance of beating Cody or who people will believe could beat Cody until The Rock comes back.
Right.
So yes, that is your card for Bash in Berlin this coming Saturday, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific time. It should be a dope ass show. And yes, I do think
Hmm.
Gunther retains in the main event. And Randy Orton is gonna slowly dissolve into madness, and that madness will be taken out on Cody Rhodes, or maybe hopefully MGK. If I don't know if you heard, MGK was recently on the douchebag fuck Logan Paul's podcast. He was talking about how like when he was at SummerSlam backstage, he heard that Randy Orton was talking shit about him, and then he went up to Randy Orton to his face and said "fuck you."
Yeah, I read
The
some of that. Yeah,
fuck out of here,
saw
fuck out of
saw some
here.
of that. Yeah. Mm.
And even Randy Orton put up like a response that's with like a confused emoji, like, yo, that really happened? That really happened? And even this one dude who knows Randy Orton put up a response saying, if you ever went up to Randy Orton and actually said fuck you to his face, you wouldn't live long enough to tell that story.
I believe it.
And MGK was like also talking shit about this other like UFC fighter, and he was like, saying keep my name out of your mouth and all this other bullshit. I'm like, bro, this dude is just like asking for attention, or like asking for trouble. I was just so happy when Kevin Owens powerbombed him off the stage on Raw all those years ago, and I was just so happy to see Eminem rip him a new asshole when they battled a few years back. Yeah, this dude needs to calm the fuck down. It's embarrassing.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, some clown shit, bro. Clown shit. Yeah, Randy Orton would fuck that dude up in a second.
Hmm.
Yeah, it just annoys me when people like talk shit like this, like when they're clearly like just looking for attention or like looking to act tough or make people think that they're tough. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Especially at this age. Yeah, it's even worse.
Mm.
It is what it is. But Raw and SmackDown are going to have new announced teams for the next few months, as the team for SmackDown will now be Michael Cole and Corey Graves. And for Raw, it's going to be Wade Barrett and Joe Tessitore.
Okay, yeah, I was hearing about Joe Tessitore about making this, coming in and with Pat gone, now Joe will come into the place, so we'll see how that turns out.
I have an idea for a match at WrestleMania next year. It should be. We're considering that it's going to be in Vegas. I think it'll be a good idea.
Which one will be that?
Pat McAfee versus Stephen A. Smith.
Oh Lord. God.
I wonder who would be the heel in that storyline.
Oh, definitely Stephen A. Smith. Definitely.
Yeah, I could see that. I'm not as much of a fan of his as I used to be.
Why is that?
Just some of the things he's said about like Kyrie, like that whole situation rubbed me the wrong way. Also, there was a situation with like Russell Westbrook where like he ratted out Russell Westbrook to like the league officials a few months ago, and even
Mm.
Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson had to kind of go off on him about it. Him and Matt Barnes had like a civil conversation, which was cool, but Steven Jackson was very pissed about that.
Wow.
It also came out today that Nikki Bella's husband was arrested this afternoon for domestic violence.
Really?
That's not good. Yeah, that's not good.
Oh, I didn't hear that. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's been all over today. Yeah, it's been posted all day.
This happened today.
He got arrested today. I don't know if the incident happened today, but today he was arrested.
Oh, today. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, that's messed up. They have a son together too. They just got married 2 years ago, also.
Wow. Oh man.
Yeah, that's not a good look. I mean, not enough information has come out since that news dropped, but hopefully we'll get an update soon enough. But yeah, this does not look good. Yeah, domestic violence, that is not a good look.
No, it's not.
Yeah, hopefully Nikki Bella and the son are okay. Hopefully nothing like seriously bad was done to them. But yeah, if that dude was like really abusing them to that degree, yeah, something needs to be done about that.
Hmm.
Yeah, crazy. But Dolph Ziggler in a recent interview was opening up about the fact that he actually wanted to quit WWE after that SummerSlam squash match he had with Goldberg 5 years ago.
Oh yeah, I remember that. That was crazy. Wow. That was pointless.
I see why they did it because like Goldberg wanted to redeem himself after that Saudi Arabia match with the Undertaker, so that was like his way of redeeming himself. I mean, it was fine for what it was. Like it was only like a minute or
Uh,
two. I mean, it was fine, but I could see like why they did it. So it was what it was. So yeah, Ziggler like lost that match, then he lost to Miz on Raw the next night, and he said like after this he was like, "Yo, fuck this place, I'm out of here,"
mm.
which obviously ended up not happening, but he felt that way at the time.
Yeah, well, I mean, well, guess what? Hey, he's doing better things now, and I'm happy for him. So,
Yeah, he won in life. Yeah, he definitely won. Granted, there were times in WWE they could have done a lot more with him and they didn't use him to his full potential. But the times he did get to shine, like the moments he really did get to have the spotlight on him, I feel like he delivered. Whether it was a
yeah.
match, whether it was a moment, whatever it was, yeah, like he had a lot of like high spots in WWE, especially that Money in the Bank cash in. Who could ever forget that?
Hmm.
Yes, but this past Monday actually marked the 25-year anniversary of the first episode of SmackDown. Yeah, and it's crazy that it's been on for that long. Yeah, 25 years, three different night changes, and like seven different network changes later. The show's still going strong.
Oh my god, yeah. Oh my god, it
Fucking
all started because of a one catchphrase from The Rock.
laying the smackdown. Yeah, the rest is history.
Yeah. Ooh. Oh. Oh. It's just so crazy how many different channels they've been through. I've lost track. Wow.
It was UPN for the first 7 years. Then it was CW for 2 years. Then it
Yeah.
was My Network for another 2 years. Then it was like Sci-Fi Channel for like 5 years. Then USA, and now Fox, and
Oh,
now it's going back to USA in 2 weeks.
crazy. And good for them though. They need to move on from Fox.
Yeah,
So yeah, I tell you what though, I loved the Ovaltron. I love that
which
stage.
stage did you like better, the Ovaltron or the Fist?
Ovaltron.
Okay, I thought they were both dope personally, but I get it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The fist was cool. It was. I love the fist, but the Ovaltron just hit differently, man.
And the Ovaltron went out with a bang from that one night when Rhino speared Jericho through it. Holy shit!
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, through 25 years, SmackDown's had many ups and downs. Definitely points in the show where I definitely lost interest and stopped watching, but also definitely many points in the history of the show where it was the A show and it was the show to watch in WWE. And the years I can think of where that held the most true was 2002 and 2003.
I agree. I absolutely agree. And you know, another a little interesting fact: I've never been to a SmackDown show live.
I've been to three. I went to one in Fort Lauderdale in 2015, and I went to two in Vegas, one in 2017, which I actually skipped class for. It was at the Thomas and Mack Center.
Oh wow, that's funny.
It was the one when Kevin Owens attacked Vince.
Oh, that one. Okay, okay,
I went to that one, and I went to the one in 2019 where Bailey turned heel.
right. I was out of town that weekend. I remember
Yes,
that
I
one.
remember.
Yeah,
This is like around the time they first moved to Fox.
right. Crazy.
Yeah, but that 2002, 2003 period of SmackDown was gold. Yeah, the difference between SmackDown and Raw during that time was night and day. Raw was on some whack shit, honestly, for those years, especially like that post SummerSlam 2002 period. But yeah, SmackDown was like the main show and like the main talent that was really carrying the company during that time. They
It
were the
was
ones who
the
were really having the kick ass matches, kick ass feuds. And yeah,
yeah
SmackDown was always a show to watch every Thursday. Fuck friends.
yeah. It was it was the match qualities that they were having, and also it was the feuds, and they had a deep depth of roster talent on that show versus they had on Raw.
I'll say from top to bottom, the overall best year of SmackDown, like from January to December, was by far 2002.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
Yeah, everything on that show was just hitting, like just like in a way that Raw wasn't really hitting at the time. And yeah,
Yeah.
props to Paul Heyman because it was like a running joke backstage that SmackDown was the B show and SmackDown was the bitch of Raw, and then SmackDown made Raw their bitch.
Yeah, I agree. At for that certain point, yeah, SmackDown was the better show. I started to lose interest in SmackDown. I think SmackDown kind of like, for me personally, kind of faded off a little bit, kind of like that late, little bit of that late 2005 period. I think after they made the switch, with John Cena headed to Raw and Batista headed to SmackDown, that's where it kind of like it slowly kind of like started to change a little bit.
Yeah, I remember you've told me this before. I see where you're coming from, but for me, it kind of started a little earlier than that. For me, it started after WrestleMania 20.
Oh, yeah, I know. Yeah, I remember you were telling me that.
Those like few months after WrestleMania 20, when like Brock left and Angle got hurt and Big Show
Mm,
got hurt, and then like made
mm.
JBL like the number one contender out of nowhere. Yeah, those few months of SmackDown were mad whack, son. I was to the point where I was like missing it most weeks on purpose. Yeah, it got bad during that period, but then it got a little better. Like, once Kurt Angle came back and once Big Show came back. And then the next year when they had the Ray and Eddie feud and the John Cena and JBL feud, it was better during that time. But yeah, I'll say like, yeah, '04 is like when it started to fall off. Like, yeah, after Brock left, I was like, yeah, huge blow.
We talk about the talent. I think the one thing that I really love about SmackDown was their cruiserweight division. Like, oh my god, their cruiserweight division was just on point. That 2003 year was their best year when it came to the cruiserweights. I mean, 02, 03,
Ray,
that was just a great time, man.
Rey Mysterio, Jamie Noble, Billy Kidman, to Jerry. Even Matt Hardy was in it for a little bit.
Yeah, that was a crazy thought. That was another crazy scenario. I was like, wait, Matt Hardy's a cruiserweight champion, and it was funny how Taz will brag about how like oh, he's drinking tea now, no more banana juice, and he's this diet. Oh, he made weight. It was kind of like a funny thing to hear, but yeah, Matt Hardy was a cruiserweight champion. That's crazy.
Yes, he was. And one of the best matches in SmackDown history was actually the match where he lost the title to Rey Mysterio.
Yeah, and now I believe that was in San Diego. And I did not go. I don't know why, but I wasn't able to go. But yeah, I remember that show and that match.
Yes, and actually, my favorite SmackDown match took place in San Diego too, a year before.
Oh, Edge and Eddie Guerrero.
Yes, that match was great. Oh man,
Yeah,
oh
I
man.
if I had to pick a favorite match and a moment. Oh my god. Oh, right. Favorite match. Iron Man match between Brock Lesnar and Kurt Angle.
That's
To
a fair
have
pick.
a
That's a fair
that that
pick.
that match itself was like, oh, you expect to see this match on a pay per view, but no, they were able to do it on SmackDown, and the fact that they had a title change, that was crazy. I think that was like the first time we had a world title change on that show, right?
No, technically, it's a weird moment, but it happened anyway. The first WWE
Oh, with
title
Vince.
change, yes, with Vince.
Oh, right. Oh, yeah. Weird. Yeah, you're right. Weird, but the Lesnar and Angle one is the most memorable one. If I had to say a moment, was Brock Lesnar suplexing Big Show from the top rope and the ring collapsing. That was, oh my god! Like that, words cannot describe how crazy and amazing that moment was.
That was pretty much the SmackDown moment. Yeah, people have
Mm.
tried to duplicate that moment since then, but yeah, nothing will ever beat that first time it happened.
Oh no, no, I agree.
Yeah, and
I
Taz's
absolutely
call, the
agree.
holy shit line when it happened, yeah, that shit was insane.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm just bummed I didn't get to watch it live, but here's what it is. Yeah, that
yeah.
Iron Man match was dope. But back to that Edge and Eddie Guerrero match, I just remember from that match that Eddie Guerrero like really like kind of broke out of that glass ceiling, like whatever glass ceiling maybe he was stuck under before that. I feel like he escaped it with that match. Like that was the match I feel like where he
Hmm.
really, I think, kind of like gained the trust of the office and also gained the
Hmm.
respect of fans in a way that he maybe didn't have it before that. I know he had that feud with
Hmm.
RV earlier in the year that was good too, but I feel like especially with
Hmm.
this match, the ovation he got afterwards, it really showed me something different in Eddie Guerrero that I hadn't seen before.
Hmm.
Yeah, it gave me a new respect for him. Yeah, it really did give me a new respect
Yeah.
for him.
And you know what? And let's just also help out Edge too, though, because Edge, yeah, he became a singles competitor in '01, though, but he really broke out that year in particular since he was on SmackDown. He really showed himself out. Like he had a feud with Kurt Angle that year. Of course, he had a feud with Eddie Guerrero. He was even a tag team champion with Hulk Hogan for a little bit during that
And with
time
Rey
as well. He
Mysterio.
really
And
broke
with Rey
out.
Mysterio too.
Yeah, he really broke out. Um, you know, Unfortunately, he did get injured. Um, I think it was like
In '03.
after, yeah. So, but yeah, he really broke out in 2002 as a singles competitor. I think if it wasn't for that little run that he had, he wouldn't be, the Edge, how he is now, moving forward. It really pushed him to where he's at now. You know what I mean? Because of that singles run he had on SmackDown.
Yeah, he was killing it in 2002. I could really tell at the time that he was on his way and he was going to get to that next level before the injury happened. And funny enough, the injury really got aggravated in this match.
Oh,
Falls like back first onto the ladder. That's like where he said his neck problem started really getting bad.
right,
Yeah,
right,
it was that
right,
spot.
right. Mm. And if I had to pick a shocker, oh, now I remember. Speaking of Edge, if I had to pick a shocker
Uh-oh, I
all
know where this
time,
is going.
Edge cashing in on the Undertaker out of nowhere. Batista and Undertaker had a great steel cage match for the World Heavyweight title, and it ends in a draw. Mark Henry comes out and just beats up the Undertaker. He's just a bloody mess, and then out of nowhere, Edge comes out of nowhere and cashes in on Undertaker. Crazy sequence, man.
Yeah, and Edge was pretty much the face of SmackDown for the next 2 years, and that shit worked perfect for him. Because
Mhm.
on Raw, he still had
Mhm.
to compete with Triple H, John Cena, Shawn Michaels, all those guys, but he had pretty much SmackDown all to himself.
Yeah.
And funny enough, that
It's,
was supposed to be Mr. Kennedy. That was supposed to be Mr. Kennedy who did the cash in, but he got hurt.
I know. Yep. Yeah, SmackDown was kind of a little bit off, a little bit. At that time, it was kind of just like, meh. You know what I mean? And
Yeah, I wasn't watching at all during that like '07, '08 period, but I always heard that Edge was
yeah,
like the one person who was like carrying the show at the time. Like
yeah,
the Edge and like
and
the
then
Familia stable and the Vicky Guerrero. Yeah, that was like the main part of
yeah,
SmackDown like during that period.
and then a lot of fans to this day they praise how good 2009 was on SmackDown, and I didn't watch it, but I heard how good it was. I heard about the CM Punk and Jeff Hardy feud, and I
The Rey Mysterio and Jericho feud over the mask. That was
Jared,
also
yeah, 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 hmm yeah. And then after that, like I I think SmackDown got a little bit better once they went live. Do you agree?
well, I'll say this. SmackDown pretty much became unwatchable like after that 2009 period, especially like when they ended the brand split. Like SmackDown was just basically a show you could miss. It was like in many ways like another Sunday Night Heat. Yeah, but then it really started to get good again, like when they moved to USA and then they moved to Tuesday nights and they did the new brand split. That's when it got better again. Like that 2016, like early 2017 of SmackDown was mad dope with like AJ Styles, John Cena, Dean Ambrose, The Miz and Maurice, Dolph Ziggler, also Becky Lynch, Alexa Bliss, Randy Orton, and the Wyatts. Yeah, all that shit was happening at the time. And overall, I would say in recent times, like 2000, like 22, 2023 has been pretty good with the whole bloodline stuff.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, we've
Yeah.
had some great segments from them in the last like two and a half years.
Mm, I agree.
Like the Uzi segment, like when Sami Zayn was trying to get them all to laugh, and he said like, "Yo, that's not very Uzi of you," and like it took
Yeah,
everything in like not to break character.
yeah. I
She
agree
was
though. These past couple of years on SmackDown was good because the ratings were just so good. So I was like,
I,
it was. I was happy to. I was really happy to hear stuff like that because it's like, man, I was like, it's been a while since SmackDown was, being well known and good. You know what I mean? So it's a show that had its ups and downs. That beginning part of the show was very good, very great, and
oh
then like that middle part was kind of eh.
I love 2000 SmackDown. SmackDown in 2000 was also fire. Yeah, there was like so many what the fuck moments that year, especially when Austin blew up the DX Express.
Ooh, yeah,
It
yeah,
was
yeah.
nuts. That was a fun episode actually, and also a moment that
Mhm.
doesn't really get talked about enough when Kurt Angle kissed Stephanie
Oh, right, right. I was like, wait, what? I was like, oh, one
the
thing,
first time.
one thing that I I really love what SmackDown did. This was like 2002 and '03 time frame. They did a really good job when it came to the holidays. Like whenever Halloween or Thanksgiving, and they celebrated that like it was like their top, like it was like a big deal for them. And also, I loved when they did the tribute to the troops.
Oh yeah, they started that in '03. Like when the Iraq War
Yeah,
started, like back in '03, they went
yeah,
there.
love that.
And Saddam Hussein got captured like literally right before, like a week before that show.
They did a really good job. I love their Halloween specials. Like they'll have like a match, and then backstage they'll have like some Halloween party, and somebody will get into a fight, and that was the year when we saw John Cena rapping for the first time, and how
Oh
that
yeah,
turned out for him.
what saved his job. That happened, and also Eric Bischoff tongued down Stephanie McMahon.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So funny, Vince directed that segment.
Oh, wow,
Vince directed that segment, and he also directed that segment when Angle kissed Stephanie. Fucking
wow.
weird, son.
Oof.
I can't even do the impression anymore. I can't even do it anymore.
I'm
But
telling you, next month is gonna be crazy, man.
yeah, that Halloween SmackDown was good, but probably the most memorable, like themed episode of SmackDown they ever did was the 9/11 tribute episode.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good one. Yeah.
I was surprised that they still did a show after that. I did not know what they were going to do because I know most of the sports leagues, mainly the NFL, were a bit, they were thinking about canceling the season. I think that was one of the rumors. Maybe I could be wrong, but yeah, that this was literally like after days after 9/11. Yeah, that was crazy, man.
Yeah, they were the first like live public gathering since 9/11 happened. I also wasn't expecting the show to come on, but I
Hmm.
put it on UPN just in case. And then like once I see like Vince in the ring, I'm like, okay,
Hmm.
they're gonna do the show. And then he gave that nice speech. Look,
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of Vince. Most of us I know aren't fans of Vince either these days, but that was a good speech. And then everybody came out and they did like the moment of silence for everybody who died on 9/11. And Lillian Garcia sang the national anthem and like started crying towards the end of it. Yo, she bodied that, man. She bodied that.
Mm,
And
mhm.
then everybody throughout the
Yeah.
night was like talking about like their thoughts and like what they felt about the whole situation. I know JBL and Stephanie McMahon got criticized for their comments like during that sit down, but besides that, I feel like everybody like said some
Mm.
nice things, especially Jericho. Jericho said something nice. Also, Lillian Garcia's was pretty interesting because she actually had somebody that she knew that was supposed to be in the building the day of the attacks, but they ended up getting called off and their life was saved.
Oh man. Ooh.
The only thing that bummed me out about that SmackDown is like after it went off the air for the dark match, they got Austin and Rock.
Oh, I think I heard about that. Mm.
They could have given us that match on TV, but whatever, it is what it is. But yeah, that was a good night. That was a very special episode, honestly, probably the most special episode they ever did.
Mhm.
And also another hidden gem from 2001 from SmackDown was the one night when Paul Heyman shot on Vince McMahon.
Oh, and that little segment that they had.
Before the Survivor Series, yeah, where he was like just went off on him and said, "You made wrestling a dirty word. You stole all my ideas. You talk about attitude, attitude. You got nothing, man. You got my ideas. You stole. You got my legacy. It was mine. And you took it all away. You took Hulk Hogan's blood and made yourself a billionaire. You took Shawn Michaels' smile and bought yourself a jet." Yeah, he was going off. He was going off, talking about Vince's dad.
That was the original pipe bomb.
Yeah, that promo was dope. Also, the ending to that SmackDown was great, where like everybody from the Team WWF and Team Alliance match were like doing all their finishers to each other. That shit was chaotic.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Considered one of the best endings to SmackDown.
Angle hits Big Show with an angle slam, then Rock bottoms Angle, then Austin stuns Rock, and then Undertaker choke slams Austin, and then like RVD kicks Undertaker in the face or something. Yeah, it was all over the place, man.
Ooh, chaos.
Also, another memorable moment from SmackDown from that year, the Supermarket Brawl. I know you love that segment very much.
Oh my god. Oh, Jesus.
Oh,
You know what's
shit.
so funny? Booker T actually recently went back to that same supermarket
Oh, shit. They
in
caused like
Bakersfield.
$20,000 in damage.
They paid for it. Hey. They paid for it.
Shit was nuts, son. But SmackDown, we've also had some memorable debuts. Actually, the most memorable ones that stand out the most. Obviously, John Cena's from 2002. How could we ever forget that one? The Ruthless Aggression line, and he smacks Kurt Angle. Also, Rey Mysterio from a month later. That shit was wild, too.
Oh yeah, I was so excited for that debut because I was like, oh my gosh, Rey Mysterio is coming to the WWE, and I was freaking just like words cannot describe how excited I was. And he had the match with Chavo, and then later on he gets attacked by Tess, and I was like, man, I'm a mofo. And then later on he interferes in a cage match, and just it's not just what happens, what he did. He literally gets on top of the cage and jumps onto everybody. Love that. I just knew that this man was gonna like. This dude is not even, doesn't have to be world champion, but he already has like a great, just a great connection with the fans already, man.
Yeah, when he leaped off of the top of that cage onto the Un-Americans, yo, that shit was wild. That whole episode of SmackDown was actually dope.
It
That was like
was.
that was probably one of the first episodes from like that era that like really showed me that like SmackDown was the real show to watch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And also another memorable debut that happened recently, the debut of Jacob Fatu.
Yeah, we could put that on there. Yep.
Ooh, yeah, that
I
was
hope moving forward, with Raw going to Netflix next year, right? I hope that both shows could like format their stages, maybe, like do something different. Because that was like one of the things that I loved about SmackDown, because SmackDown had its own identity when it came to the stage. It's like when you watch a show, like, oh, this is their own show. This is their, it's different from Raw, right? I just hope moving forward that I would love to see Raw go back and having like a big Titantron like they did back in the day. I
okay.
would love that SmackDown could have like a little bit of a different, unique stage that's different from Raw. You know what I mean? Like when you watch that show, okay, this is SmackDown, this is Raw. Like it's different. You know what I mean?
I hear that. Yo, SmackDown also had some good ass celebrity cameos over the years. Which one was your personal favorite?
Very early. Like it was the early stages of their show. They had, oh my god, it's like a long list. They had LL Cool J. I think they had Busta Rhymes on there.
Arnold. Arnold's probably the most memorable one, I think.
Oh yeah, I think Arnold is my favorite one. It was because I mean, come on, it's Arnold Schwarzenegger for goodness sakes, and what he did. The dude's at the announce table. The dude pip slaps Triple H,
Yo, that
and
was
I
great.
laughed.
Yo,
It was
that
the
was great.
funniest thing I ever seen. People call it a backhand. No, I call that a pip slap. He literally Triple H wanted to hit Arnold. Arnold with his uniqueness ducks and then just bah pimp slaps Triple H. Funny. I know he was there to promote his movie End of Days, and
which I hear sucked, by the way.
yeah, I know. I watched some of it. I was like, my God, what is this?
Bro, I liked his cameo on the show though. He seemed like he was having a good time. He seemed like a genuine fan. Yeah, it was great. Episode of SmackDown also had a crazy ass moment that happened earlier that show with the Big Boss Man interrupting the Big Show's dad's funeral. Bro, I cannot believe they fucking did that shit.
I thought that was on Raw.
Yeah, when the Big Show was at his dad's funeral and the Big Boss Man came with his police car and
Yeah,
interrupted it and
yeah,
drove the
yeah,
cab.
yeah.
I was on SmackDown, the same SmackDown.
I don't know why I was thinking that was on Raw.
Yeah, that shit was nuts, bro. They go to an actual
I know.
cemetery and he fucking like ties a chain around the casket and just drives away with it. What the fuck? What the fuck
God,
was that shit?
I know. I've talked about this so many times. Just this Smack 1999 was just a chaotic weird year. Of all the years, 1999 was just that one year. I was just like, my God, just crazy.
Yeah, and Big Boss Man was just like a heel like no other during that time. With like that, when he fed Al
Yeah,
Snow's like dog to him, the pepper
yeah,
steak.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he was on one. I like the Busta Rhymes cameo. I also like the Jagged Edge cameo from '07, even though I wasn't watching at the time.
Oh my Lord, I forgot about that too. The wedding, Teddy Long, and was it Crystal? Yes, it was Crystal. Teddy Long and Crystal was supposed to get married, and I think Teddy, kayfabe, pretty much what he had a heart attack or something like that.
Yeah, I wasn't watching at the time. That shit sounds fucking ridiculous.
Oh God! And it was so funny about that whole sequence. Like Jagged Edge is singing, and then like everybody, at the wedding is like, moving side to side. I was like, oh my
Jeff
God,
Hardy.
this is too
Jeff
much.
Hardy's like moving along with it too. Jeff Hardy's like clapping along.
Yeah. And speaking of musical performances, I'll never forget when 3 6 Mafia was
Mark
performing
Henry.
Mark Henry's theme song. Yeah,
Shit.
I remember that. Ozzy Osbourne performed on SmackDown.
Damn, I missed that. Yeah, I probably wasn't watching at the time. No.
Yeah, this was 2007. This was prior to Judgment Day because he that was one of the theme songs for that Judgment Day that year, and they wanted Ozzy to perform that theme song, and he did. Yeah, I remember that. It was in '07.
Yeah, some of those years like kind of like a blur. Like I don't know much about them because obviously I wasn't watching during those years.
It was again. It was like I said. That early part of SmackDown was good, and then that middle part was like, man. '07 was like it was. I think the only thing that was holding up on that show was was mainly Batista and the Undertaker feud that year, and of course Edge being the world champion, and that was about it. Yeah. And then '08 just kind of like fell off, and that's when I started to slowly get away from everything, from wrestling, and just like it was just like I said, like the middle part was meh.
Yeah, but those golden years were the best. Yeah, like from like '99 to '01, then '02 to '03 was also dope. '05 had its moments, like '04 and '05
Yeah.
have their moments.
Early '05 was gold.
Yeah, I agree.
Come on, like you're building up to leading up to WrestleMania. You didn't know if Batista was gonna go on SmackDown or he was gonna stay on Raw, because there was a couple times he showed up on SmackDown, and funny how foreshadowing he eventually will go to SmackDown later that summer. So yeah, that early part of SmackDown '05 was great.
Yeah, with the JBL and the John Cena feud. One segment I remember really liking a lot was that one time when like Cena like just fucked up JBL's like limo, like started spray painting like FU on it and like it was like
Yeah,
fire in his face and
because
like spray painted FU on his
John
shirt.
Cena and JB had they had their own versions of like the presidential debate. That was so funny because Theodore Long was hosting it, and it was kind of like, you know how like in the presidential debate, how one person will talk and the other person will talk. That was kind of like how like that was like the vibe I was getting
Yeah.
from that segment. It was funny, and then Xena gets he couldn't. You got to remember he couldn't touch JBL. He couldn't like physically provoke him or whatever unless he loses title shot. But John Cena would get the scissors and he'll cut off JBL's tie, or he would take his 10-gallon hat off and say, "Oh, is this a really 10-gallon hat?" And he'll put water in it and he'll dump the water on JBL's head. I thought that was hilarious, and he even sprayed,
If you want a
he even
shirt.
sprayed like yeah on his suit. I thought that was just funny. It was hilarious. I loved it. And I loved, I loved that whole buildup. I loved when when JBL blew up John Cena's U.S. spinner belt. I every time I see that segment, I send it to my best friend Amadio in Virginia because we're huge JBL fans. He even met JBL, I think recently, like a month ago. But yeah, I that segment alone when he blew up the belt was just like, as a fan, you're like, damn it, but it's like it was good to see it.
Yeah, that feud was great. That's the feud that pretty much made John Cena a main eventer. Yeah, crazy John Cena
Mhm.
kind of like started out as the face of SmackDown and like lasted very brief, but he was pretty much that face up until they moved him to Raw.
Yeah, it was one thing that I did like. I loved how John Cena did went to Raw, but I loved how the following year he came back like a that one night special reunion. I thought that was dope. I thought it was cool. I love that.
You know, it was also dope in '05 that Rey Mysterio and Eddie Guerrero feud.
Hmm.
Probably one of the best feuds in SmackDown history. Definitely top five.
I agree.
It got a little weird. It went a little too far as it progressed, but overall, it was one of the best things on the whole show. And also on that same night of SmackDown with the JBL and John Cena segment that we were talking about, that was also the same night that Kurt Angle did Sexy Kurt, did the Sexy Kurt dance, and then he put Sensational Sherry in the ankle lock.
Oh yeah, I remember that. That was
Yeah, that early '05 part of SmackDown was also dope. And like I said, that 2016, 2017 period. Even 2018 was pretty good with like Becky Lynch's turn, like when Becky Lynch like first started becoming the man character and she had that feud with Charlotte, that AJ Styles title reign that lasted a year. And then when Daniel Bryan beat him for the belt and became a bad guy, that shit was also good too. And then the rise of Kofi, like when the Kofi Mania shit started. Yeah, that period of SmackDown
yeah.
was also dope.
There was one period where I think around that time where it came to surprising everybody else. It was something that needed to happen, but it was good for the show where AJ Styles out of nowhere defeats
Jinder Mahal.
Jinder Mahal for the WWE title. Came out of nowhere, wasn't expecting that, and this was literally like a week prior to Survivor Series that year. Came out of nowhere, and you have a title change on that show. Like you gotta remember, you rarely see world title changes on any show. You know what I mean? When you see stuff like that, it is good to see that.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, SmackDown had its ups and downs. They've been good years, they've been bad years, but regardless, the show is still going strong.
Yeah,
And in 2 weeks, it moves back to USA, which I can't wait for.
good for them. They need to move on from Fox. Fox has been doing they've been doing that show a little bit dirty. So
I would say Fox is the worst network it's been on besides my network.
with their run.
Yeah, I don't
Okay.
understand why they even moved to that channel in the first place, but whatever, shit happens. But UPN will always be my favorite. UPN will always be the number one.
Well, according to Bruce Pritchard, I mean, they've been wanting to move the Fox like for years. I'm talking about years ago. They've been wanting to like work a deal with them. So
They got the deal. They got the deal. They got their money, but now I'm ready to move on from Fox. I think we all know.
didn't yeah, it just didn't really transition how the way it wanted. It was at one point where Fox was kind of not feeling SmackDown for a little bit because of the ratings.
Yeah, like that early part of their era on Fox, where like the Roman Reigns and Baron Corbin feud was
Oh
happening. King
God.
Corbin, like the Roman
Oh my
Reigns mascot,
God.
and they're like pouring dog food all over each other, and that shit was
Oh
mad whack. That shit was
God,
mad
that crap
whack.
makes me cringe. Oh, that crap makes me cringe. And he did that suffering succotash segment on SmackDown, dude. It makes me cringe. I don't like. I love Roman Reigns, but I don't like watching his work from that pre tribal chief era. It makes me cringe.
Yeah, it was whack, man. And then eventually he came back after going on that hiatus during COVID. He came back and then became the face of SmackDown, and that's like when it started to get
Oh
better,
man,
where like the whole Bloodline thing first started. And
yeah,
then the Sasha and Bailey stuff was also good too during that time.
yeah.
In the last few years, it's been better. Like I remember that one SmackDown from the Garden, like in 2021, with that Edge and Seth Rollins match. That was a really good match, and also that Roman and Brock segment at the beginning of the show was nuts. Yeah, they've had a couple SmackDowns in the Garden the last few years, including 2 months ago, the one where they took out Paul Heyman, the new Bloodline.
Yeah.
That shit was crazy.
Man, have we come a long way. We've come a long way.
Yeah, 25 years. I'll never forget that first episode, watching it live that night when Shawn Michaels screwed The Rock out of the title.
Oh, I would get that.
Yeah, I kind of thought it was going to lead to a feud between the two of them, but then after that, you didn't see Shawn Michaels on TV until Judgment Day time, like in May.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I heard
Wow.
apparently Shawn Michaels said something on Bite This that rubbed people the wrong way. He was talking about how it was messed up of Stone Cold did not want to drop the title to Triple H at SummerSlam and using like the injured knee as an excuse when he dropped the title to Austin the year before at WrestleMania 14 with his messed up back. So because of that, they like stopped
Hmm.
using it apparently.
Hmm.
Yeah, it was a cool angle. Like they didn't really capitalize on it, but it was a cool angle for like the first episode. Obviously, that first episode, all the way up until now, through the good, the bad, the ugly, SmackDown still exists.
Hopefully, maybe one. Well, maybe I'll get it off my checklist. I'll attend a SmackDown show in the future. So we'll see.
You had your chance last year in Vegas. That one episode when Ray finally stood up to Dominic. Yo, that was a good ass segment.
Yeah, I don't know why I didn't go.
The week before WrestleMania. Yeah, the week before WrestleMania.
Uh,
But before we get out of here, I'm gonna ask you one more question. Who do you think was the face of SmackDown?
all time.
Yeah, out of all the eras of SmackDown, would you call the face of SmackDown?
That's a tough one, man. You know what? If this was a few years ago, part of me would have said John Cena, but man,
I associate John Cena more with Raw, honestly.
I'm really I'm trying to like dive deep in this one, man. I can't. Oh man, I so many eras, man, and I think each era had its own person. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it. I get it.
I can't pick honestly, man. What about you?
If I had to pick one person, I would have to maybe go with shit, this is hard for me too. I would have to maybe go with The Undertaker because he was on the show the longest.
Yeah, you know what? That's yeah,
Pretty much the whole brand split, the whole original brand split, The Undertaker was really only on SmackDown the majority of the time.
yeah. That's a good pick. I never really like looked deep into that. That's yeah, you yeah. Huh.
I wanted to maybe pick Edge. Edge was another honorable mention, but I
Hmm.
think Undertaker just had more of the longevity on SmackDown. He was like around for those different eras of it, and yeah,
Hmm.
and he was just on the show forever.
Yeah, yeah.
Other ones are obviously Rock, Brock Lesnar when he had his run, also
Kurt Angle.
Batista, Kurt Angle, Edge, AJ Styles,
Hmm.
and most recently Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
Yeah, but 25 years of SmackDown. We got another episode tomorrow night for the go home show for Bash in Berlin, which will actually be in Berlin. And yeah, show's still going strong. Also, one more thing. Rest in peace once again to Bray Wyatt as this past Saturday marked the 1 year anniversary of his death. Rest in peace to him. And shout out to Bo Dallas and the rest of the Wyatt Six who've been killing it ever since they started this whole storyline. And Bo Dallas actually picked up his first win as Uncle Howdy on Raw Monday over Chad Gable.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Good for him. Just shout out to just everybody on in his company, both Raw and SmackDown, because business is good and business is booming as always, and we can't wait for this Saturday again. Bash in Berlin is this Saturday, August 31st. Can't believe, man, we're already at the end of August, but yeah, August 31st, 10 a.m. Eastern Pacific time here, and if you're on the East Coast like Kurt, 1 p.m.
Yes, 1 p.m. my time. And yo, Dave Meltzer is on some whack shit. Gave only 1.5 stars to Tony Storm and Mariah May from All In. That is a crock of shit.
Oh, since we ever take anything seriously from him, but let's forget it, guys. Watch, enjoy Bash in Berlin, and follow us on social media, ladies and gentlemen. Follow our podcast page on Instagram at champs.clash on Instagram, and on Twitter, the Champs Clash on Twitter. Follow us on our social media pages. We need a support, and we appreciate the support right now.
Yeah, holler at us, follow us, let us know what you think. And yes, I think I'm gonna go watch a classic SmackDown match when we get off, and that's gonna be the TLC from 2001 that obviously people don't talk about anymore.
Oh, okay. You do that. I gotta.
Get dinner started. You got to get dinner started, right?
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
All good. But yes, go watch some classic SmackDown moments if you have time. I've been having fun doing that actually. And actually, one more classic moment we forgot to mention before we get out of here. How could we ever forget? The Billy and Chuck wedding.
Oh Lord. 3 minutes warning, and Eric
Um,
Bischoff was disguised as the Reverend. That oh my Lord! This is when Eric Bischoff and Stephanie
yo,
were feuding, which was good for good TV though. But yeah, that Jesus, that was so crazy.
Eric Bischoff in that makeup was genius. Like no one would have ever caught that shit.
No,
That was like Robin Williams is Mrs. Doubtfire. Yeah, that was exact same vibe.
I know.
Fuck, man. Yeah, good shit. But
Oh boy,
yes, until next time for John Randall, this is Conscious Kirk for another edition of the Clash of the Champions. Take care. Enjoy Bash in Berlin this weekend. Happy Labor Day weekend. And this will actually be my last episode of this show that I recorded in Atlanta because I will be moving to Jersey on Wednesday.
that's right, that's right. Good for you, and good luck in future wise in New Jersey, and
Yeah, it's going down. Time to shake things up and time to, start living again. That's the biggest thing about this movie is just to start living again.
as always,
Yeah, so take care. Have a good one. Remember, don't be an asshole in real life or social media because that shit is for the birds.
and ladies and gentlemen, always take care. God bless, and always be cool.
Definitely. Take care, guys.